Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome for another one of the interviews of our composers for the concert number 6 of Unpaused Chamber Music. We are now interviewing our friend Jacopo Salvatori, which is the composer of one of the pieces of the concert. It's the trio for violin, cello, and piano. Then Jacopo, I would like to ask you, what are the influences for your piece? What is this piece?
First of all, I wrote the piece when I was in Paris in 2017, and it took quite a lot of time, I have to say, because I started having some ideas for this piece just like many months before, and it was a period where I didn't have a piano with me every day. So I used to, I didn't have paper with me because I always forget it home. And I used to just think of ideas and melodies or just a particular sound or just musical ideas and keep them in my mind. So I had to make an effort to actually not forget them.
So it took a lot of time sketching around.
Yeah, it was just sketches which I kept in my mind without ever just writing them down. And then at some point they just changed a little bit through time, also through this thing that I wasn't writing them down, and they were changing over time, constantly changing. And at some point I decided to just put them down on paper, and I developed them into a trio.
Did anything especially in France influence you in that, or was it more things you've drawn all around?
I think it was just more that particular moment of my life, and in the end, at the beginning, I had an idea for this piece, which had to do with politics, but in the end, what happened is that the music actually kind of ate this idea out. So it got it just sunk into the music, and it's now just it has nothing to do with the piece anymore. So it's something which is inside, which is in, but it doesn't mean that the piece is about that, or is based on a certain idea, or is based on a certain concept which has to do with politics. It's just something which has been it got mixed with the rest of the piece. So that's.
Was something general in politics or some specific event?
It was not just some specific event, but it was this recurring thing that very bad things in history they keep rehappening after a while, and that was what inspired me, what drove me to write the piece. And I think I was at the moment I was talking to a guy who's a journalist who's specialized in Middle East, and he was telling me about the war in Yemen. And then I was thinking about, I read a couple of papers about the war and newspaper articles, and that's where this idea just was born, basically. So I was thinking about this war going on and all the other wars which are still perhaps like the war in Yemen, and still 3 years later there's still people dying there, children and starving, and it's not something that we should accept, but that's how it is, and I think that was the trigger for my ideas. And I was thinking about how these things, even in our connected society, which is connected through internet and social media and through all sorts of things, which also in our epoch these things keep happening again, and so we're not learning from our recent past. So that was the
neither the recent, neither the ancient, unfortunately. Seems like something. But speaking about influences then, in a more broad way, how you see yourself as a composer, what are the things that I said also in the interview with Caio, that we have in Brazil this concept, this artistical concept. There was a school of thought for a while. There was the anthropophag movement in Brazil, that were kind of cannibals as artists, that were always digesting what comes around, and then we bring out in a certain way. Well, what do you digest and what are you devouring?
Depends on the piece, and I think at the moment I was also in the same period I was rehearsing to record Debussy's Preludes, and probably this is like, even without thinking about these pieces, this influenced me a little bit. But I think there's a multitude of things, but basically when I was in Paris, I used to go to many different concerts, and we're like very, very like different in genre and in the players, also the actors of the concerts. So I used to see to watch concerts with with ethnic musicians, playing ethnic instruments or music from non-European cultures. But I also used to take advantage of being for this period in Paris and visit and attend some new music concerts. I think that both things have been mixed up, and I, in some way, without even knowing or noticing, I started to filter some things from one side, from this, I was very often, I used to listen to Chinese music, because at the same time I wrote a small piece for a Chinese instrument called pipa, and I can't pronounce that anyway. But yeah, it has nothing to do with the music itself here. There's no recognizable influence in this piece.
But in your general,
but I was filtering, and I was just eating all these things, and it was really a period where I was traveling a lot, and also trying, I was exposed to many different things. So I think that worked.
For you as a composer in general, do you see that you are drawn to these kind of ethnic influences in music, or how do you think these things talk to you? Do you feel yourself more like an European centered with some ethnic influences, or do you draw more from this material? How would you define the kind of music you look for usually?
I think I am still attracted with this kind of music, and I'm still trying to understand what makes this music so beautiful to me, and what makes it so attractive or interesting to me, and what moves. It depends, of course, on the kind of music, but generally speaking, I'm looking forward. I'm trying to understand this music, and I'm conscious that I haven't understood how it works, this kind of music, and I'm especially popular music, especially also Brazilian music in general, which I got to know over the years, and there's something about it which I love, but I don't know why and how. I don't know what things I love about this music. I just like it, not just to listen, but I'd like to write it, but I know that I wouldn't be able still. So it was that's something which I'm still doing, trying to. I'm kind of aspiring to obtain some kind of musical results in my pieces, which share something with this kind of music, with popular music in general, the traditional music. Now, not pop music, and not. I have nothing against pop music. I'm talking just about
folkloric
music. Yeah.
So you are kind of the wanderer.
In this sense, yes. I couldn't say that's something which I took from this music because I recognized it and used for my piece. It was something which I was really kind of trying to understand, and I'm still trying to understand this thing. And it's something which is unclear to me yet. So
I think that's fascinating, because in the end, also, for example, if we think in the fairs, the world fairs, and influence also Ravel, Debussy, and all these composers, Puccini, they're all drawn from these world fairs where they were first exposed to a lot of cultures that usually in Europe people would not have been. And I think that's fascinating and to see.
It's nice. I think it's
nowadays we have much more influence. We can see this much more easier. I think just access YouTube.
that's not more easy. The thing is, most of this, in this generation, they were also fascinated by this music because it was exotic in a way. It was something new. They never heard something like that before. But still, I think after that period, folklore music is respected, and it has been studied also. but in a way never made it into being something recognized as, I mean, there are no concerts of gamelan music in Europe, like it's very rare, or even like Brazilian music that's not so, I mean, it's not so played, so much played in Europe nowadays. It depends on the place, but it's not like, and what I think like now through YouTube and all these platforms, I think I could have access to a lot of music, but still there's something which has nothing to do with this music being exotic. It's something which is a quality, which is native to this music actually.
And just one last question then. Going throughout the whole world, how you, an Italian man from Firenze, how do you feel yourself relating to all of these things? How you keep being still? Do you still feel that you have this Italian root in you, and also drinking from all this pool, or do you feel more as a citizen of the world nowadays in the sense that you feel more around than that?
I think, I know what I mean. I think it's more that I don't feel anything like having in this moment. Probably I do have in a way, but I don't feel anything like having an Italian heritage at the moment that I have to respect or in some way face or take that into consideration. I think it's just more what's my roots are more the music that influenced me when I was in Italy. So basically when I was a kid and I started studying music, and I really wanted to write music, and I was fascinated by these composers and all the pieces I was playing. I think it's basically more these memories that shape my musical personality than like being really Italian. Also I have to say, like I played lots of chamber music, and this kind of music, especially like trios and quintets with piano, there are not so many Italian authors who wrote like famous pieces for this instrumentation. So basically, I was playing much more Schumann or Brahms or like non-Italian composers, and I guess I've been influenced more by those guys than Italian composers. Basically, that's what I think. Yeah.
Well, thank you very, very much for the interview, and thank you for explaining about yourself, and I hope everyone can enjoy our next concert and know a little bit better Jacopo and his music, and see you there, be there or be square.